Welcome back. All right, it's time to get you guys saved. We're about to read chapter 4. Chapter 4 from my book called I Am Pheonix. It's easier to read off the thing. That way I'm not looking down. So, I do watch these little videos. I read like an idiot. I say a lot of ums. I dissect the crap out of my ways, right? And there is plenty to complain about. And oh my goodness, could I feel shy. I have an accent. I have a little chip in my tooth. I have problems pronunciating words. Just a lot of haves, right? And then at some point, the work still has to get done. Fuck your excuses. You still gotta communicate your ideas through, you know. So, and I think some of this is actually for that exercise too. I've already accepted the fact that what I'm up to, not a lot of people care about. And then when I start diving into smaller niches of my crap, I guess, like my Christian stuff and my little ideas, then that becomes a smaller and even smaller interest group for now, right? But I'm exploring ways to communicate this simple idea of through my experience. I think this is a pretty decent way to go about trying to not only rebuild your life, but to try to pursue a good life. And that's because I'm also 10-12 years into this journey, you know. I've tried to study for college stuff. I took classes for graphic design, music. I read hella books, blah blah blah, you know. So it's been a journey, and I've been collecting ideas to try to one day write a book. And then AI came out, and a couple books just kind of popped out because ideas feed into themselves, but then you at some point you kind of just have to stay on topic, like this topic. Chapter 4, I Am Pheonix. Let's get you saved. Let's at least talk about a good life and the pursuit of purpose. All right, ready? Are you guys ready to hear me read? Pursuit of purpose. Our great leaders of thought suggest starting with a simple list. What do you want out of life? If you sat down right now to write out your top 10 desires, what would they be? How much money and free time do you wish to have? And more importantly, what would you do with both? Imagine your family life. Does it thrive in harmony? Does your spouse or partner last through the ups and downs? And in the best case scenario, where your purpose meets your resources, how does your mental state fare? Calm, fulfilled, purposeful? These aren't just idle dreams. They are the essential foundation for constructing a life that reflects who you truly are, a life that aligns with your soul's purpose. The Creator, whom we keep in mind as we walk through life, wouldn't waste his time crafting each of us so uniquely, only for us to squander that divine design. Your curiosity. Where did I go? Okay, your curiosity, energy, and personality were carefully planned. God placed you here with the freedom to either fully embrace the life He envisioned for you, or to reject it by leaving beneath your potential. Let me read that again. God placed you here with the freedom to either fully embrace the life He envisions for you, or to reject it by living beneath your potential. Some people live only a fraction of the life they could have, while others choose not to participate in life at all. Living intentionally. To truly live life in the abundance God desired for us, one must first reflect. Refine your lists of desires. Don't simply ask for material wealth or fleeting pleasures. Ask for qualities you wish to see multiplied in life. Generosity, patience, self-control. As the Bible tells us, we always reap what we sow. Galatians 6:7. Sow good seeds now, and you will harvest abundance later. Imagine the entirety of your life and plan accordingly. Live as if the blessings you desire are already yours. The truth is, they are, but you must go and get them. The secret to getting ahead is getting started. Mark Twain. We often deceive ourselves. That was a mouthful. We often deceive ourselves with shortcuts, trying to escape the hard work it takes to build something meaningful. We chase entertainment, indulgence, or fleeting pleasure, thinking that an easier path will somehow lead to the same rewards. But as Napoleon Hill famously stated, choosing the path of least resistance has caused all rivers and some men to become crooked. This escape from effort leads us to addictions, laziness, and ultimately a loss of purpose. Escaping responsibility leads to rock bottoms, whether that be through addiction, broken relationships, or self-destruction. For alcoholics, it's at the bottom of the bottle, where they wonder what happened to their lives. For others, it's at the endless pursuit of fun that leaves them hollow on the inside. But true success in life requires effort. Hard work, consistent and focused energy over time. Lack of self-control is the root of all downfall. Lack of self-control is the root of all downfall. Overconsumption of food, entertainment, relationship leads to erosion of both character and spirit. It is only when we regain control over our desires and discipline ourselves that we begin the journey towards an abundant life. It's a heavily punched up idea. One paragraph. Idea heavy paragraph. That is. It's only 8 minutes. Let's read that one again. But true success in life requires effort, hard work, consistent and focused energy over time. Lack of self-control is the root of all downfall. Overconsumption of food, entertainment, relationships. What is overconsumption? Another word for over-consuming something is gluttony, right? Stuffing ourselves to the brim, just like too much, right? So too much of food, we get big. Too much of entertainment, if we go through life only entertained, then are we actually useful, right? Do we have the capacity to become sharpened into a more useful tool? And sometimes hardships make sharpen us up a little bit. So overconsumption or gluttony with food, entertainment, or relationships. Sometimes we have a pile of friends and they all ain't doing shit. You know, Yeah, we party, we kick it, we chit chat, we're there. But when shit hits the fan, nobody comes when it matters, I guess, right? Anyways, so um, there is such a thing as overconsumption of on relationships, I guess. The earlier me said this. Leads to erosion of both character and spirit. It is only when we regain control over our desires and discipline ourselves that we begin the journey towards an abundant life. So everything in balance seems to be like a good cautionary word of advice. Oh, balance. The myth of work-life balance. There's a pervasive myth that we need a work-life balance. The phrase often sounds appealing, but it's a demand for more play and less work. Oops. Yet, the truth is, work itself is the balance that allows for any life at all. You have to reshape our attitude. We have to reshape our attitudes towards work, because work is the very thing that brings stability, resources, and purpose. Without it, there is no abundance, just a hollow existence filled with distractions. Without work, there is no abundance, just a hollow existence filled with distractions. The Bible emphasizes the importance of work. Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men. Colossians 3:23. We were made to be productive, to contribute to the world. When you give your best efforts in the marketplace or at home, you contribute to something bigger than yourself. It's this participation that gives life meaning and allows for material and emotional rewards. A better question then, how can I achieve work-life balance? Or a better question then, how can I achieve work-life balance might be, how hard can I work in a sustainable way? The answer lies not in balancing less work with more play, but in finding ways to make your work meaningful, aligned with your purpose and fulfilling. Does this do I make this activity look like it's work? I haven't been paid for any of this. I wrote books. I pumped out a video a day, acting stupid, not knowing what I'm doing, losing my friends, uh, playing with the idea of freedom of speech. Like, let's see. This is work, but it's pretty fulfilling, I guess, in its own way. And with this work that I'm doing, I think I had a different point, but blah blah. It's sowing seeds so that my future harvests year after year could generate proper fruit, right? And the reason why I chose this Christian stuff is because I loved the benefit of receiving mercy at the right time. A good person came along and was like, this man receives mercy. And I was like, oh, neck getting chopped, like, oh, thanks, I get to live. There's been plenty of times where I've been thankful for the spirit of goodness, something good in the world to prevail, and me and the group of people I'm with, or whoever I'm with, come out, because the karma says that it wasn't my time to get the shaft end of the stick, right? So I guess that's a good part about Christian. That's why I chose to package it up and put it into a book form and then try to market it to you as a book, but it's really a good message, because this would be a cool world. This would be a little bit better than the shady fucking crap that we're living currently in, you know? People killing each other, and we call it like medicine, progress in medicine. I guess. Okay, well, work. We're talking about work. Blah, blah, blah. There's no abundance without sacrifice, and work is a sacrifice that make prosperity possible. Yeah, okay, that's let's go back to my bigger point. The answer lies not in balancing less work with more play, but in finding ways to make your work meaningful, aligned with your purpose, and fulfilling. That's why I was saying, like, I do all this work. Do you think I'm getting paid for it? No, but there's a sense of purpose is checked off in my heart, right? Like, oh, okay, I have a tug. I must be doing something important. And having walked down this path, embraced this crazy idea, pissing off a few more people in addition to the stuff I pissed them off about beforehand. Like to pick up this idea and be like, oh, okay, this is a worthy idea. That is very fulfilling for me. And it looks like we're at like 16-20 minutes. My goodness. Oh, we're almost done. All right. Principle of sowing and reaping. Here's where the sophisticated mind must settle. All of life operates on the system of input and output. If you want more money, you must offer more value. If you want better relationships, you must offer more love, patience, and understanding. The principle of sowing and reaping governs the entire universe. If you're constantly cutting corners, giving half efforts, and taking shortcuts, you'll only ever receive a fraction of what you could have. Consider this: if you give 60% effort at work, your results will reflect that. You're only cheating yourself out of opportunities. But imagine if you gave 100%, not for your boss, not even for the paycheck, but for yourself. Imagine becoming the person people look to when things get tough because they know you're reliable, you don't quit, and you always give your best. That is the beginning of leadership. True leaders embrace responsibility. They carry burdens without collapsing. They navigate their teams through tough times, and they ensure that those around them are blessed by their contribution. The Bible speaks of this. The greatest among you will be your servant. To serve others is to lead them, and to lead them is to live abundantly. Oh, excuse me. 18 minutes. Okay, 2 more paragraphs. Game of money and value. Okay, the meat and potatoes of this song. Money is often demonized, but it's simply a tool, one that can be used for great good or great harm. Money itself is neutral. It's how we pursue it and use it that defines our relationship to it. To attract wealth, you must become valuable in the marketplace. You must solve problems, offer services, create products that enrich people's lives. It's simple. Provide value, wealth will follow. Once you attract money, managing it becomes key. You must steward your resources well, or they will vanish. And once you've learned to manage money, you must take risks to grow it. The parable of talents. The lesson is clear. God rewards those who use their gifts wisely and who aren't afraid to take risks. But here's the ultimate truth. Here is the ultimate truth about wealth. You accumulate it not to hoard it, but to give it away. The more you give away, the more you bless others, and the more blessings come back to you. Acts 20:35 says, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Thank you, guys. That was chapter 4 of my little book called I Am Pheonix, and that's officially 20 minutes.